Welcome everyone to another episode of Broken by Concept 109. Hello BBCers. I know you love, the audience loves me saying
Everyone gets excited when you say that,
BBCers.
Curtis.
Nathan Mott, Coach Curtis.
The ultimate BBCers.
So, kicking it off, Nathan, I want to get your take on communication. You know, communication's a bit of an odd one in League because some people are massive fans of it. We know Patrick, who we referred to 2 episodes ago, is a big fan of communication in solo queue. There's different types of communication, whether it's via pings, typing, etc. Now, I've been thinking a lot about communication recently in my reviews in the MLA, and I was thinking, I sometimes I get questions like, what are you trying to get done with your communication? What's the intention behind your like? What's your mindset when you're communicating in solo queue? What's the purpose of it, right? And look, I would say that this is my hot take here. Communication in League is kind of 2 parts, right? Obviously, there's directives where we're kind of telling our team what we want to do. Classic example, say, I want Rift. Let's Rift, dive top. These are like direct, like very specific things that that basically it's like a play that we know we want to make, and our team, we get on the same page. Boom, we get objectives, whatever.
Yep.
And then I would say there's another part of communication which is basically it's like kind of preventative medicine in a way, where it's like pinging danger of like a ping or of a roam, or as a jungler, pinging the enemy jungle's path, or telling people to reset, or it's not like these are winning plays, putting ourselves in like, we're not like getting something from it. We're in a way preventing ourselves from making a game losing play, right? And so I would say that for the majority of solo queue players, all the way up until master tier, you know, you don't even really need to make the massive shot calls like the calling the big dives and calling the rifts and all that stuff. I mean, it's great if you can. I think it's like a huge bonus and it will definitely help you. But what's more important is giving the enemy room to make mistakes and beat and lose the game rather than you win the game, if that makes sense. So to kind of put this succinctly, I view communication in a way as it's giving room to the enemy to fail. It's preventing my team from making a game-losing mistake and basically buying out my team time for the enemy to basically make a game-losing mistake. Because it almost feels like every minute, every second within the game, we're on like a fine line between our team making a game-losing mistake and the enemy making a game-losing mistake.
So let's say you're at 22 minutes in the game.
Yep.
And you're just looking at the map state and someone's split push on the side. You can just tell
that
they're getting collapsed
right?
on. And your mindset is like, you need to danger ping to get them to wake up, and they should ideally see the map state, and then they will back off, and that buys you another time for
It buys you a little bit more time
for them to screw up.
And then the enemy might screw up, and then because it almost feels like most 15 minutes onwards in most of my games, it's just a knife's edge between who's gonna make the game, not the game-winning play, who's gonna make the game losing play.
It really is like that.
That's how it feels. That's actually more my mindset in solo queue. And I was thinking about this, especially with my Ari recently. I've been really playing a lot of Ari. When I'm playing Ari, sure, I'm definitely thinking about like where I need to be on the map in the next objective. But a lot of the time I'm thinking more about, I just want to be in the right place for the enemy to mess up. Because I know the enemy going to misstep that one time. And obviously Ari's really good at punishing missteps and stuff like that. But that's like my mindset in solo queue. I'm really basically giving the enemy room to fail. That's my mindset when it comes to communication.
That's a very different mindset for communication that I would have.
What's your mindset?
My mindset is, I mean, the only communication, like if you could literally, there's like a meme in Soul 2, like in terms of like the only things you could see me type ever in solo queue is like prep dragon, prep baron, control this side, we break bot, we break this
Do you
tower.
ever type reset?
Yes.
Reset.
Reset. And that's like literally it. Like you just got that, and that's it. So, but those are like more so.
Well, that's a combination of both, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess there is a bit of a both, but my mindset is more so proactive to win the game,
right? You're more
rather
proactive
than buy time to win. Because especially the champs that I play,
right.
You know, I'm not scaling up and stuff like that, right?
Well, I think that also ties into your role, jungle as a role compared to the mid, right? We spoke this on one of
as
the other
a mid lane,
ways.
I think your mindset makes perfect sense.
Makes sense, doesn't it? And I think that's the mind. As a jungler, though, that makes sense because as a jungler, you want to always be thinking about pushing the pace of the game and because you only have like a limited amount of control in the game
That's
most of
right.
the time as a jungler,
You
right?
lose a
Like
lot
the
of control
first like
later.
12 to 15 minutes, like that's go time. That's
Yeah.
when you as a jungler can really get shit done and dictate the type of the game it's going to be. Whereas mid's a little different. Like the longer the game goes, in a way, you have more control over the game.
That's right. That's the way I always say it. Yeah, the laners, mid lane, AD carry. The later the game goes, the more control they have
More
over
control.
the game.
That's right. And support and jungle are different in that sense. Supports have less control over the game, I would say, the later it goes. And junglers, the less control they have over the game, the later it goes.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. I mean, we still have your and when you say less control, you still obviously have your role and your impact.
That's right.
Like support warding is insane.
And it definitely depends on the champ you play. Like Bard and you know,
any champ, dude. Warding
Soraka
is
and-
game changing, dude.
yeah, that's
I
true.
always say for the support, dude, if a support gets a fresh set of vision, is able to have the time to reset and then have 4 wards in the inventory while the enemy team's clearing it, there's nothing better. There's so much more high impact in the mid game than a support can do
It's
that.
huge. So, you know, so to wrap this little segment up, you know, the message I wanted to get across here for people, if communication to them doesn't make sense or like why you would want to communicate, think of it in terms of giving room to the enemy to fail before your team will, at minimum, at absolute minimum. Do you think that's like a good baseline bit of advice?
I think that's good advice. I'm just trying to think of some narratives. So let's work. Obviously, the most basic narrative is my teammates don't listen to my ping. So what's the point?
Right.
And the other one is I'm scared to make a wrong call because then people will flame me and stuff like that.
Right.
I hear that a lot for tracking,
Right. Okay.
for junglers.
Right. I don't want to ping the wrong path because then I'll get flamed.
Yeah. Or let's say in the mid game, you actually ping they're there, but they're actually show up somewhere else. Then you sort of lose confidence and
Right.
stuff
And there's
like
only
that.
one way to learn, right? Fail.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the other one, what do you say with your clients when they say my teammates aren't going to listen to me if I ping?
Well, it depends on the context of the situation. In terms of
Right.
jungle tracking, it's like it's just a weird narrative because people think that people always say that lower elo junglers do weird pathing. It's all really predictable, right? And like just from the reviews, I've done thousands of review guys, and very rarely people do a path where it's like, oh my god, he did a crazy path. If he's doing a bad path, you usually just punish it.
Yeah,
Somewhere,
you just punish
know?
it, right? They can do a bad path and
Yeah.
they can do something that doesn't make sense.
If someone dies,
but if they
it's
do
fine.
that, then like they're
The
usually
game's
being
good for
so
you.
inefficient that it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, right?
So yeah, that's just an invisible narrative that people have.
Right.
You can ping and people's pathings because jungle's so one dimensional in a way. It's like
Right.
you do your camps are gone, your camps are respawning, they're gonna be around there. You know what I mean? Like that's as simple as it is. It really is. I'm sorry guys. So yeah. That's just a bullshit narrative I hear all the time.
I mean, what I say is like, even if they don't listen, okay, if they listen 1 out of 10 times, would you
Yeah,
rather?
that's the thing as
Would you
well.
rather not? Like, it's free. If it helps you even 1 out of 10 times,
that's
would you
right.
not want that?
I agree. Yeah. That's what people say. As well.
And I
People
always
don't
say as
listen to my
well,
pings.
if you ping in a good way, like I talk about I actually have an article.
quality of your pings,
The quality
I
of the
like
pings is
that.
actually massive. I have an article in the MLA talking about this whole article on pings, right?
Yeah.
I actually rate the types of pings and how you should use each one. This is dead serious. So I'm obsessed with danger pings.
Danger ping is the best ping in the game.
It's the best ping in the game.
Yes.
And I actually I said this. If the enemy mid laner has prior and you know where they're going to roam, if you ping perfectly, like exactly
Where
down the
they
river
are.
where they're going, danger, 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 danger. I would say 85% of the time, the laner is going to listen or they're going to input that information and make their own decision. Right? They're going to process that information.
right.
But if you do a question mark ping mid,
That's
2 question
so
mark pings,
shit. I don't even hear them. I
You
don't
don't hear them?
even, yeah.
or if you do back ping on mid, or you do just a back ping top, like the back ping.
Is that the yellow one?
The yellow one? They're
Yeah.
useless.
Yeah, they're useless.
They're actually useless. So I always say, like, okay, let's look at the quality of your pinging and let's say how far in advance you're doing the pings. And then if they're still not listening after all that, then sure, it is what it is. But like 85% of the time, they're going to listen no matter what.
I definitely say in a lot of my reviews, I said, X person, these pings are just tilting the shit out
Yeah,
of everyone on
they-
the team. What they do is
question mark pings on people and all that stuff.
No, like that. Well, that's obvious, I think. But what they do is like a fight's already happening that they should have been at, and they're backping it as the
no.
fight's going on. Like, what are you doing, dude? Nothing's
They're
going
not
to change.
gonna- they're not going to leave the fight.
Think about player psychology. When you're like even posturing, you don't even have to throw any abilities for a fight. It's happening no matter what. No
Yeah.
one's backing off. No one's resetting. I get actually angry when Soul 2 players back ping during a fight. Like I get emotionally.
Wait, did I last episode talk about Baron calls? Do you remember, Charlie, if I spoke about Baron calls in the last episode?
I don't think you did. No.
I just while we're on this topic,
Yeah.
It's been like a meta or like you know how you have kind of metas in the Soul 2 about like a specific topic comes up a lot.
Yes, we do have metas. Yeah.
You have like a meta in the
Yep.
Soul 2 and like you hone in on like one thing or like
Yep.
it comes up a lot randomly. I
Yeah,
don't know why.
I have like a reset meta. I
Yeah.
have like a ganking meta. I've got like a Rift Herald meta.
It's like the theme of the week in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, because you just happen to have
just-
back-to-back reviews with the same mistakes. You're
Yeah.
like, and then you start coming up.
You start like honing in on it,
Yeah.
right? I think it was this week. My week's blended, honestly. There's so much coaching, but
Yeah.
I had like a missed Baron call week where like I actually
Interesting.
spoke a lot about learning how to call Baron, and it's actually a skill. Like learning to see Barons is a skill. I had I think at least 5 or 6 reviews this week where they lost a game because they didn't call for Baron. Just didn't call for it when it was a free Baron.
I love it.
And I said in the reviews, I'm saying, and I kind of compare what like me as a coach, right? What I tend to do. This is my more, I guess, a coaching philosophy, right? First thing I do is I identify their decision. We look at their decision, and then I ask them why. So why did you make this decision, right? Let's say they won a team fight and they went for tier 2 mid over Baron. And I say, okay, what were you thinking here? What were you trying to get done here? What was your thought process going for tier 2 mid, right? Well, and maybe it might be their attention just was focused there. They didn't know Baron was up. They were autopilot. It doesn't matter, right? Then I will say what I would do, and the next step, why I would do why I'm doing.
Yep.
Right? So then it's a juxtaposition. It's like a comparison between the 2 plays, but also the mindset and the reference point below that. That's what the most important thing is for me as a coach. What I think it's about comparing reference points. How am I thinking in this situation and feeling, and why are you thinking and feeling that particular way? And why is there a difference here, right? And I showed an example of me in a game recently in solo queue where I'm already pinging Baron as they're trying to clean up the last 2 members. I'm already pinging for Baron.
Got it.
Because I'm dead, right? I'm in the fight, I'm dead, but I know my team's cleaning up.
Yeah.
I'm literally pinging assist me on Baron as they're cleaning up the last 2 remaining members.
Just to get people ready to instantly go.
No hesitation.
Because
that's how obsessed I am, though. That's my mindset. I said, this
it.
isn't because I've thought about, oh yeah, my learning objective was learning how to ping Baron. Dude, I want to win the game. Baron is, if I can get Baron, it's my default response after every single skirmish post 20 minutes is
to think
can we
about,
Baron?
can we Baron?
That's literally, it goes
Yeah.
from kill, fight to can we Baron. There's no in between. There's like 0 to 100. So that's my default response. So I'm already instantly as I'm dead thinking, can we Baron? Are we near Baron? How fast is our Baron? Can we do it?
So what are some examples of your clients, the way they view the Baron?
It's literally not even thought about.
So it's like we win fight.
We win fight and let's just get a tower, get a reset, spend gold. I don't know. That's literally not in their mental stack.
Okay.
Post 20 minutes, it should be a fundamental of the game that you think about Baron no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's just not. It surprised me. I'm like, this is so free.
It's so obvious to you.
And I always lay it out I put it really clearly. Baron leads to towers. Towers don't lead to Baron. If you get Baron, you're gonna get all these towers anyway. But if you get towers, you're not gonna guarantee the Baron.
That's right.
And so it's just it's borderline for me. It's like a master plus fundamental, right? I think if you're master plus, it should be like, if you don't have that, you're just not going to climb, in my opinion.
You're just not, because you got to play the winner's game at that point, right?
You need to play the winner's game. And it actually shocked me how big the mindset difference was between
That's very
myself
interesting.
and my clients.
Yeah.
I love doing that, by the way, when you compare like your mindset, how you feel in a particular moment with like how a client is feeling.
I have
in a
this
particular
visualization of like this like box client, like some like line, you, and then like, yeah, you're trying to like figure out the gap. Like,
the gap.
what are they
What's
missing?
in the, what are they missing?
And then there'll be like some notes there. It's like, you know, maybe,
right.
you know, you're overwhelmed mental stack, and then you've got maybe, you know, you're not thinking just in general that, you know, you said there,
Yeah.
the towers don't lead to
Yes,
Baron.
these are like principles or
Principles,
whatever.
that's what they are, correct.
They're principles. This also reminds me of another topic that I had with a client, Nathan, which was, I'd love to get your thoughts on, was I have a client, he said that he's constantly making like the same mistakes in skirmishes. And he was like kind of explaining his thought process when he's in games. And he said he's directing like 80% of his mental stack in his lull states in the game about macro. Like what's kind of like the next play? Where do I need to be on the map? Like what's the next objective, right? Like that's what he's thinking.
Just to clarify, lull states for people that don't know, that's when there's when you're doing nothing, like walk into a camp or walking out of base.
Yeah,
or
you're dead off
you're
a reset,
recalling,
recalling, all that.
Yeah.
They're lull states. That's actually like probably the the thing I speak about the most in the MLA, actually by far. It's like the fundamental mid lane.
Yeah.
Like it's like the game in my opinion. Like League is lol states actually. It's like
That's the
waves of
time
lol
to think.
states. Yes. So when jungle, it's interesting because in jungle, I'm assuming you don't touch as much on them because
you always think you should
you're always
always
in a
think
lol
about
state
that.
during clearing your camps, right? But
The whole
as a
game's
laner,
just
it's so
a lol state.
important because you can't think. You're just in combat.
You're in
24/7.
combat. You're contesting minions.
Yeah, you're always fighting. Anyway, and again, I did this comparison. I'm like, okay, let me. I went over a VOD and I thought to myself, how am I thinking in the game? Like when I'm walking, it's 15 minutes. How much of my mental stack am I putting towards thinking about like what's the next objective and what should the lane assignments be and like all that versus like how should I be fighting in this game? Like who should I be scared of? Who do I need to kill? How do I need to be fighting in my comp? Like what's my role? And for me, it was actually more the other way around. I'm thinking most of the time about my role in fights. I'm thinking like probably 60% of my mental stack is thinking, you know, who are my team I need to peel? Who do I need to target? Who do I need to be afraid of? How do I need to be like I'm thinking about fighting a lot, like skirmishing a lot.
It's
It's all
the entire
anticipation.
game.
Like, because now when I get to a fight, I already know instantaneously how I need to fight, where I need to be directing my attention. So it's just boom, 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 boom. Whereas for him, he rocks up to a skirmish.
And it's just reaction.
It's reactionary.
And then
Everything's reactionary.
You're going to lose. You're just going to lose.
You're just going to lose.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who to target, why to target that person, if you need to peel, if you need to dive. You have no idea.
What's the game again? Is it 90% anticipation, 10% reaction, or is it
That's right.
80%?
It's
Something like that.
It's basically, I mean, yeah, it's like, I can't remember the what we said, but it's majority anticipation.
Did you see that clip? There was like a clip on Twitter of like Faker dodging a spear on a base.
That's anticipation though.
Yeah, I know. People thought it was reaction.
Yeah, people are like,
oh
look
my
at
god,
his
Faker's so
reaction
good.
times. He
right?
already knew Nidalee was there. He was just waiting for it.
He was waiting for the
Yeah.
spear.
That's
Because
right.
it's literally humanly impossible to dodge
That's
stuff
right.
like that if you're reacting.
That's correct.
But that's why everyone was like going crazy. Like
It's really
reaction
not
time.
that. Like, it's impressive, but it's not. Like,
Yeah.
it would be more impressive if he genuinely didn't know Nidalee was in the area,
Yeah.
right?
But people just got crazy because
They don't get that.
he was like tabbed and like you literally couldn't see the spear. Like people had to have
Right.
multiple view-ins, right? Like he saw like a pixel frame. So maybe it's like hand-eye coordination. Maybe there is something there.
Yeah.
But again, like it just showed it.
But like, I reckon his mindset would be, he knows Nidalee's in the area.
Yeah,
he based on vision.
He probably is just tabbing and just clicking to walk in because he knows the spear's coming.
Exactly.
Probably
He's
anyway.
like, he knows exactly where
Yeah.
it's going to come from as well.
the
And
timing.
he's just in flow state as well, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Faker always does that. Like, he's always tabbing. Like, if you look at his, his APM's
That-
really high.
yeah.
He's always like F-king
That's
and
just
tabbing
muscle
and
memory.
shit.
It's probably not
He's
even-
like got the best APM of like any mid laner. It's
Insane.
crazy. But yeah, like tying back to skirmishing, you know, this is where it's kind of tying into the why it ties into the Baron play, Baron calls. I'm already thinking about, like, my mindset's in a different place, you know? Like, my skirmishing on Ari is only good right now comparatively to before, because when I was learning Ari, I was all reactionary. I was thinking about, like, I couldn't think about the game holistically, right? But now I know what my role is, what I need to be doing in fights, who I need to be peeling, etc.
And that took a lot of games to learn, though.
It took me 40 games.
Mastery.
It took me 40 games straight of basically, you know, being terrible in the champ to finally.
Even if you ask those questions, you still wouldn't know what you're doing in game 5.
I wouldn't have the mental stack to be able to think about it.
That's why champ mastery is so important.
It's so important. And that's why lull states is so important. And how to use the lull states is so important. Last thing before we move on to the.
I was going to say about, we're talking about client mindsets and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I have another one in terms of
Sure.
viewing your, like the way your mindset is towards your teammates. And I think I've talked about this before. I think we actually
Okay.
have had some disagreements on the way we view our teammates.
Yeah.
But this was from Yasha, and he was having a really like hard time in terms of like, you know, people always say it's like, you know, you got to view your teammates as bots, or you have no expectations for your
Right.
teammates, all that sort of stuff.
Or like AI. That was the other one we read on Reddit that one time.
Yes, they're like the AI, but that was like a healthy AI type stuff.
Yeah.
I'll just get up what he said. So he said, hey, Nathan, a little bit. I think I realized what the real problem was. I wasn't playing League of Legends. I was playing League of Yasha. I was viewing my teammates as the enemy and getting attached to the LP. I received it in the game instead of actually enjoying the game. I went back to the basics, decision making. And he said, it's actually crazy when I start viewing them as tools and allies. The difference is mind blowing. So when I say tools, I talk about the tools of. That's the way I view my teammates. It's like, you know, how can I use them to win the game of League of Legends? And he was viewing them as enemies.
Really? That's so weird.
Like literally, like they're actively working against him.
That's fascinating.
And then until he started, he was like, okay, my teammates are, you know, they're going to do their own thing and stuff like that, but I can use them. That's what his mindset was.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
The game's not playable if you have that mentality.
Well, he struggles in Platinum 4, so.
That makes sense. Yeah. That's common? That's crazy.
That's a common narrative.
Where does it start? Like, how do you get to that point? Like, how do you get to the point where you genuinely viewing the people on your team as like they're trying to sabotage sabotage you?
Yeah.
How important do you think you are?
That's a great question. Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Everyone's out to get yeah.
You know, that would make sense if you're like Tyler One streaming or something. You know, people are trying to like target you and make your because they want to get a reaction on stream. But like, you're a nobody, dude. No one gives a shit whether you win or lose. You know, as bad as that sounds, that's just the reality.
It's the reality. It is. So I thought that was interesting to share, just in terms of
crazy.
that. And just, because, I mean, I didn't even really know this. I mean, he's been salty for months, and then he just realized this was the biggest thing holding him back.
This is the power of invisible narratives, man.
They just fuck you so hard, dude.
Invisible narratives, they ruin it's it.
And they're there, and again, you'll never bring them up to a coach because you'll maybe think it's normal or something.
You don't even know they're there.
Even know
That's why they're
exist.
invisible.
They're
like,
invisible.
you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you have this toxic relationship with the game that you don't even know you have.
Yeah, it's true.
This is what Niall said. I did a video with Niall recently. It took him 7 months. I think it was 7 months to figure out he's just stage 3 issues, mental blocks.
Yeah.
7 months.
It's crazy.
Same rank for 7 months.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out what his invisible narratives were.
And he went from Platinum to Grandmaster.
That's right. But like that huge part of his climb that he was stuck the most it was nothing about the game.
It's just
it was
narratives.
Purely narratives.
Just breaking them down. That's a great example.
7 months.
That's insane.
And he said it was that close to quitting.
Yeah.
Purely because of the invisible narratives. In David Goggins, the book, that was the big thing that like helped it. There was like 2 things that I said. There was one thing that I said in the David Goggins book, like together kind of.
Where's the David Goggins right there?
Yeah, can't hurt me. And this is a beautiful segue into my topic here. I've got multiple clients right now that basically say, Curtis, I'm a lost cause.
Yep.
Right?
I got to go on those ones as well.
They say, look, I've read your articles. I come to the coaching sessions. I do 3 blocks. I've got a small champ pool. I'm reviewing my games. I'm doing everything you say, and I'm not going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And they say things like, I still can't prevent myself from getting tilted. I still can't stop focusing on the LP.
Yes.
I still can't get myself to like get good quality reviews.
Super emotional players. Those are the ones that they can't control their emotions.
And it's always along the lines of, I've got an ego that, or I've got an ego this, or I'm the best in my friendship group, or whatever the hell it is. It's like, it's always some bullshit narrative, right? And, I don't want to give up on a client, and it's like I've got to figure out a way. There has to be something I can say here. Like ultimately, I can't do it for them.
They have to do it for them. That's right.
So whenever I'm confused like this, I always bring it back to me, like as a player. I'm a player. I'm not some alternate being that doesn't feel tilt or get frustrated. Like, I have my own toolkit
to deal with it.
We've got our own toolkits to deal with this shit,
yes.
Nathan. Right?
Mute all. 3 blocks.
Great.
Thinking bigger picture, long term, champ mastery.
Yes.
Focusing on decision making. Your decision making equals your rank. Understanding the rank system works fantastically well to put people. Those are all the tools.
Notice but I want to use a different term here.
Okay.
And you really get nitty gritty here. Let's say you exit a game. You have a really shitty game.
Yeah.
You're maybe in your second game of your block, and like you know that you've got all these negative thoughts come in. So you like literally exit that game, and all these negative thoughts are piling in, aren't they? Like, why are you trying? You're untalented. Whatever the hell it is for you. Like we still have them. We still have negative, toxic thoughts that try to. I view it as like there's like a shield, right? And then our mind is in there, and then these like things attacking it, right?
Yeah.
The only thing that keeps us from fending off those negative thoughts that would otherwise...
Things not seeping through the shield and getting into our brains.
The only thing are mantras. These are mantras that we we basically repeat to ourselves, at least for me, and that's what I'd love to get your thoughts on.
Yep.
If I know I'm going down that negative route and I know that like I could like these negative thoughts are coming that I know are toxic. We've identified these on the podcast a trillion times. I've seen them in my clients. I feel the same sometimes. I literally will repeat the things in my mind.
I say those things, yeah.
Just get into the review, Curtis.
Yeah.
There's always a reason. Another one is, figure out how I contributed to the game state. Go back, check over my fundamentals. Do I have champ mastery? Like I'm just going over these mantras. Like these are just like kind of things that I will repeat to myself and that I basically go back to. And so when the negative thoughts come, it's like, these are my shields. Like you have to get through all these things. These are like positive narratives. These are all positive narratives that you have to now defeat to get to me. Now, if I didn't have these, if I'm not repeating these to myself and I'm just this blank canvas, I'm going to get annihilated.
You're going to get influenced, and then those just latch onto you as
they latch on.
Yeah.
And then once they're in there, they stick there.
You've
and it's
got
hard to get them off.
parasites on you, dude.
Legit. So that's how it works,
That's
right?
how it works. That's right. Mantras. I can remember the things I was literally telling myself because yesterday my solo queue was horrendous. And I just sat in my bed and I just had to repeat to myself, it's like, okay, that's just one day in terms of the whole journey.
Love it.
Got to think long term. I'm confident in my process. It's worked for me in the past. I've had these moments before. I've always overcome them. Champ master, like I literally just sit in bed and just lying there, just thinking about this, and then I feel better. And then I sleep like a baby, and then I'm ready to go for the next day in solo queue.
No, that's it. Now, people think that they don't know that's how it works. They think that you magically get it and then you never have toxic.
No, I was physically in pain yesterday after my gameplay. Like I was like struggling everything. I was doing the dishes. I just didn't want to be like in my skin for a while because I'm like, this is just like, come on, like this is not, I'm not going to get to where I want with this gameplay, and then these mantras help me feel a bit better.
Think about that though.
And time cures everything.
Time
as well,
does
by the way.
cure it, but
time's really important.
The thing about those positive things, that like buys you time.
It does buy you time. That's right.
It buys time.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have them, you're gonna do self-sabotaging
the next day
behavior. Right after you just queue up more, you're going to play again, and then whatever it might be, or you're going to vent to your friends on Discord or whatever it is, and then start it's like going to the dark side.
That's right.
So that's my advice for Bill. And I'm going to say, Tom, Tom, I get it. It's hard. You're the best in your shitty little friendship group, whatever. Your shitty little friendship group filled with casual gamers. No one cares. It's you versus yourself. Develop these mantras that we always say. The same things. I actually wrote out a few of them to him, if I can get them up right now. It's just...
I have so many mantras, dude. I love them.
I wrote a few.
But you got to repeat them to yourselves, dude. I don't know. There's just something into it. You got to repeat it because then you just got to talk to yourself, man. Self-talk is what does David Goggins say? He says the most important conversation is the one you have with yourself.
Yes. The most important conversation is the one that you have with yourself. These are stuff like, okay, is your process good? Look over your pre-game and post-game process. Focus on improvement and details over the LP. Are you using your lull states to calibrate and identify key threats? Are you visualizing your matchup in the loading screen? Tighten up your fundamentals. Do you know your matchups? Just go through all this stuff, and then you can have more stuff, more holistic mantras like you said. The process worked for me in the past. I just got to do it again. I got to think long term. And these are stuff that we spoke about. I can't remember off the top of my head. We've got a trillion of them, but these are just things that it's like the solo queue contract. This is the 30, 30, 40. I'm not going to win every single game. Like there's all these tools that we have, guys. Right?
Yeah, not winning the single game. I always emphasize to people, you go to the top of the ladder and stuff like that, dude. The top players have like you talk about the 52% win rate. Like even some of the best players in the world have like a 55 to 60% win rate. Like they lose in 10 games, they lose 4.
I love that example you said with Will. Here's how many games he's lost.
Yeah, he loses so much, dude.
Will, I think you said some things like he's got a 50. What, he has like a 55% win rate. He loses 45% of his games.
That's almost 5 in 10. So if in 10 games he plays, he loses 5, wins 5.
Nearly, yeah.
Yeah, nearly.
Think about that.
Losing is such an important. It's like learning to lose in League of Legends, how to lose, how to deal with it is a massive skill. It is. I think it's probably the most important skill in League of Legends.
Learning how to lose. So yeah, it's a public service announcement. Mantras. It's a tool in itself. Repeat them. positive narratives.
Love it.
Keep you on track.
Speaking of friendship groups, Curtis, we're going to dive into a video here. So we've got a book club. We've got a pretty tight-knit community these days. I found a clip. I was just skimming over it, and Daniel here, who's also from the MLA.
Yep.
He had a really good way of talking the way he views, the way his relationships with the game's changed and how that's impacted his friendship group. And I sort of want to, I'm showing this for two reasons. One, I know some people struggle with this a lot in terms of they start feeling a bit more disconnected from their friends because maybe you watch this, but you have other friends that play the game, but they don't really get it and they don't really interested in the BBC and all that sort of stuff. And they sort of feel they don't know how to deal with that. They feel it's weird to them. And I want to this is just a cry sort of showing you're not alone. All right. So let's just play the clip here and let's take a look.
What I found is when I started joining the MLA and started to redevelop my view of the game, I incrementally learned that I can't play with my friends anymore. I just can't. And I stopped doing so.
It does become more difficult.
Because I was in the Discord and we used to play like every day some ARAMs, some normal games. It was actually fun. And I was in the same kind of culture where my teammates are so bad, man. That's why we lost that game.
Yeah.
And since whenever I hear that, I get like these aches in my body. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, just take responsibility. And I learned that I can't educate these people. It's way too exhausting to educate these people and have this conversation every single time. So I just avoid it. I just don't talk about it with them at all. And actually, when I meet these friends, I still meet them a lot in real life. We just don't talk about League anymore. We talk about different things. And yesterday, I was like at a lake near Salzburg with a friend, the same friend I was talking about earlier. And I used to play a lot of League with him. And I don't know why I just kind of started a League conversation. I was kind of talking about some of my last solo queue games. And then he started talking about his experience recently. And I instantly got the same ache. And I was like, okay. How's school going? How is school going?
Yeah.
It's like you kind of the interactions change and the topics change a lot. And for me, it wasn't for the better or for the worse. I would actually say rather for the better, because I don't have to talk about League with him. We can talk about other things as well.
It's kind of like talking about politics with your grandma. You just avoid it. Just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's never a good idea, is it?
Yeah. You can't educate them. And it's just going to be exhausting, annoying. So you just, sometimes.
What do you think about that, Curtis?
It's so cool. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we don't really resonate with this for us personally, but like, I think a lot of people in the MLA have expressed something similar. I like the way he's like dealing with it though. It's like, we can talk about other things.
That's right.
But the thing is, it's hard it's easier for him because he's meeting them in real life. Like a lot of people have friends that are online in other cities.
The Discord's a huge thing.
You're in a Discord
like
community,
and
you're playing
sort of
games.
the way you connected was through League, and maybe you've got a different view of the game now. It's so interesting. It's like crazy. It's like, I mean, I don't really know this because I don't really have any other hobbies and stuff like that. But is there any other hobby or something that you have in relation? Let's say maybe it's art or something like that. I mean, maybe it is the same for that.
But you play another game. I think it's really as simple as that.
Yeah, no, but like, why is like League is just it becomes such a negative thing to talk about.
It does.
Like, I'm trying to think about, let's say if I was doing like martial arts or something like that, like
Right.
Even if I was like a lower level, right? And I was like some of my friends like been doing it for years and he's like a beast. I feel like, I mean, maybe he would just hate talking to me about it, but like, what would I be saying about it? You know what I mean? Like, what am I saying? Like, it's just because League it's like a team game or something. Because it's like, then I'll be like, oh, like I'm working on this like kick or this move and stuff like that. Maybe he'll like help you out or something like that. Or maybe like, he'll be like, oh, I went through that. I feel like that whole conversation would be different. Like League is just
there's such a large disconnect.
It's such a toxic thing to talk about in general, I think.
There's never anything positive to say.
No, there's not. And it's just drowns the mood. And it's just, you know how you see Philip, what he was doing in the top left, like when Daniel said, I'm in physical pain when I talk, when my teammates talk, when I talk to my friends about the game, like, and Philip was like cringing as well because he's felt that.
Yeah.
Like, what else do you talk about?
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good point. There's actually someone I know in real life that also plays League, but he's not really in our community. He's just like a friend I know. And I caught up with him recently for brunch. And I actually had a very, very similar experience. He's the first person that I've actually spoke about League to that's kind of outside our communities in real life, who's not really a high elo player. And he was, his story, his narrative is that he was Diamond 4 in EU like 6 years ago, and now he's in Australia. He's French, and now he's in Australia, and now he's like struggling in like gold 1. He can barely get platinum anymore, and he's struggling in gold, right? And you know, he like, I told him, like, I gave him like advice, right? I said, like, play like 2 champions and learn your matchups and play in blocks of 3 and playing in and like all that stuff was like so foreign to him. It was like I'm a crazy person type thing. It's like, it's so ridiculous to even say that. Like, and I can tell that he didn't really internalize it either, because like, it just doesn't
Daniel
get
said
it.
it's exhausting to
try and explain why. It's exhausting to try and explain why that they would need to do that to and get to that level, because what's their default response? Well, there's other high elo playable that, or I didn't have to do that in the past, or there's other high elo people that don't do that. Why do I need to do that? It's always this comparing yourself to others. I think it really does, I guess, stem down to people's perception of high elo players. I think that's what it really is. Imagine if right now, for whatever reason, the entire high elo community, it was accepted that you had to review.
Like, you have to put insane hard work to be a high elo player.
You had to review, have a process. Like, imagine that was like the norm.
People would be like, more like, oh, well, it makes sense why like I'm going, like, you know,
sense,
and
right?
like, you know, and it's like,
Because
man,
it's
my teammates
confusing.
probably aren't the problem because my rank, you know, and the rank system does a fantastic job
I
putting you
don't
where.
think there is any other sport where there is such
That's what I'm saying.
delusion
Yeah.
about why
skill
you're
level.
not that good at the game.
And do you know why that is, Curtis? I'll just straight out tell you. It's because it's just a computer game. League of Legends, you can theoretically do all the same clicks and the same buttons as Faker.
Yes,
you
that's
can
why.
do that,
That's
and you
why.
get the pentakill, and you feel like you're the best player. Like, that's why it tricks you all the time. That's the thing. Like in physical sports, it's different. You could generally say that guy's better.
I can't do that.
Or that guy's physically just
He's
way
physically
stronger.
gifted,
So I'm not.
It's like obvious, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can just bench.
You'd never
that,
talk about it that way.
Another one that one of the most fundamental reasons I also think, Nathan, is people don't get the they really, they think they do, but they don't get how snowbally the game is and how small decisions add up. They
That's
just
right. How
don't
massively
get it.
important it is.
Because remember, it's delayed results no matter what. Like, it's, if you die, you don't have that painful experience until 30 minutes later. If you get a kill and you lose, like, I don't know, everything's just delayed, you know? It's delayed.
It's all about wins and losses. That's all it is.
It's all about wins and losses.
Yeah.
So you don't,
The victor or
and because
defeat
people
zone.
don't review, you don't actually know what it is or isn't contributing to your win or loss.
That's right.
So it all just blends in together. It's
yeah.
just this giant shit fest
And then you
of
just-
information.
yeah.
And you might remember one thing, and it's like, oh yeah, my support didn't ward this bush or some shit. It's like, dude, this is like one little like.
My teammate got caught at like the
My
25
teammate.
minute.
Oh my, yeah.
They're so shit. It's like
my,
they're getting
my
caught.
jungler missed a smite on this Baron.
Baron,
That's
right.
why we lost the game. And it could be the case. He could have won that game because of that
It's
smite,
true.
right?
Yeah, he's not
and
wrong.
that's the other thing
He's
as
not
well,
wrong.
right? It's
Yeah.
like, you're true.
Yeah.
Spot on, man. That's the reason. You definitely could have won the game with that. But it's like, there's all these other things, you know? It's the learning cycle. This is what Jono said fundamentally when he first came. The learning cycle is so hard to complete in League because there's so many decisions being made.
And you can't replicate the same thing.
And you can't
or situation.
isolate anything.
Yeah.
It's the lack of isolation in every other sport, like tennis, football, billiards, like
Martial
pool,
arts.
martial arts. Everything is replicable. You can isolate. You can drill. There is no replication in League, or very minimal. There is some, right, with practice for like combos and shit, but that's such a minute part of the game.
It's funny because Philip used the example of like talking to his grandma about politics. I think it's even, you could just have like a discussion, have like an opinion, and like, you get it. It's different. League's just different, man. You know? You
You can understand why your grandma would have those political
That's right.
views based off her experiences in her
Yeah.
in her life, and it wouldn't really aggravate you. Like, it might be a
No.
little bit annoying at the start, but you kind of get it. But then with someone in League, it's like no matter how much we understand why that person feels the way they do, it's still annoying. You know, it's still, especially if they're not a client, if they're just like a friend.
Yeah.
Would rather not go there.
That's right.
Because then you just begin lecturing them.
Yeah.
And it's like, they
it's
don't
not
want to
fun.
hear it.
Yeah, they don't want to hear it.
You don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's just a waste.
It's a waste
It's a
of
time
time.
sink.
It
It's
is.
an energy sink, really.
Yeah.
It's an energy sink.
So I also just wanted to put out there, just sort of just showing, you know, you guys, it's like we do things differently here in the BBC. Like we are a different subsection of the community, and that we just have to embrace that. I think it's important to accept that. That like I really feel like we're not playing the same game. We have a different view of how the game. We talk about having a healthy relationship with the game, you know, and most people in League of Legends don't have healthy relationships with the game. And that's probably your friends.
They would just check out at that sentence. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's right.
Like your
Yeah, you
relationship
never
with a
have
video
conversation.
game. What's going on?
I'm talking to our BBCers here, Curtis. You know what I mean?
You know, yeah. I mean, we've essentially created all this vocabulary and stuff that out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like, what does that mean?
It
a
doesn't-
relationship with a computer game? What the
It
fuck?
doesn't make sense.
It's true.
Yeah. So, look, I think the mantra when it comes to this sort of thing is you can only help someone that wants to be helped. If one of his friends was genuinely like interested in League, like you could tell like they want to get better at the game genuinely and they're curious, then there's an in there, you know, you can kind of go down that rabbit hole. But if there isn't that curiosity and it's just like a blank, it's just like a wall, everyone shit, fuck everyone, toxic game, shit game. It's just like, you know, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Do you have to sit down and explain why the game isn't shit? You know,
Well,
like, I don't know.
Daniel's tool is he just doesn't talk about
Yep.
it. He just talks
Don't
about
talk
other
about it.
things.
Just easier.
I think so as well.
Or play another game, I think, for people online.
Yeah.
Just don't play. League is not a good casual game. I will say that
I know.
till the day
People
I
will
die.
fight that, Curtis, but I definitely.
It's not a good casual game. There are better casual games.
I
That's
agree.
for sure.
It's like all those games like Among Us and that sort of stuff. Like all those. PUBG.
Yeah, Among Us. Yeah, stuff like that.
You know, like those games you can play with your friends.
Even just like board games, dude.
That's cool, dude. Play Monopoly. Okay, so do we have another topic or should we jump into the next video?
Let's do this video and then I
Okay.
got maybe one or two
All
little
right.
things.
So Curtis linked me this.
I got sent this from I think it was Mechanicalist. Someone in the MLA sent me this.
Love it, dude.
He said he thought we would love it.
Absolutely. So this is a podcast. I think this is like one of LeBron James podcasts. He's in a lot of episodes. They talk about the zone here. So let's take a look at the clip.
The zone. Like
And-
getting in the zone, flow state essentially.
Yeah, and let's the way you see how LeBron. There's like a soccer player.
So the
I
soccer
don't-
player from
I don't know who he is, which I'm
he
gonna get
plays for like
roasted.
Manchester United or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
he's probably pretty good. He's like world class.
Yeah, I typed in his highlights after. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like good.
And the thing is, I just love hearing high performing athletes and stuff talk about these concepts. I just love it. I could just listen to this all day. You know what I mean?
All right, let's get into it, Nathan.
Here we go.
Place. It was like it's just an out of body experience.
And that's the actor.
Yeah,
You get that in sports?
I was about to say we call that being in the zone.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You wish you can tap into that shit more often. You just when it happens, you have no idea what the fuck is going on.
And you find new stuff.
Yeah,
you
you
start
like
doing new
you
shit.
just trying shit that you never even tried before.
Yeah.
Like silly shit. That game I had in Boston, game 6, down 3-2. It got to a point where I was just out there trying shit. One leg off the wrong foot, bump fades off my right shoulder. I am not even a right shoulder bump fade guy.
When do you know you're in the zone while you're in it? Like at what point?
I mean, I think I started the game like 8 for 8.
You don't know.
And every time I was shooting, it just felt so perfect, and it was barely touching the net, like going straight through like a bird, just go straight through the water.
Can you see the other team start to get defeated? Like damn, there's nothing we can do with these guys.
Yeah, because I feel like when someone's watching you, they know when you're. We call it lost in the game. When my brother's watching me play, he knows when I'm lost in because he's watched me play all the time growing up. So like I used to get lost in the game when I was a kid, but I would never. Before I even knew what that saying was, I was doing it like it's a different kind of focus. And when you're doing it, you can't put a finger on it. But if I'm watching it, I can.
It's like one study that hasn't been tapped into. How can we tap in to the zone?
I don't know if you can.
You can't. I don't think it's the one thing that's never. You can't. You can't.
Yeah, I had one coach, and he used to say, "Put yourself in situations where you're not comfortable.
Oh
Play
yeah,
outside
that's my
of your
favorite
comfort
saying.
zone."
That's my favorite saying.
And how do you do that?
I just learned to play in different positions.
Oh.
Like I started playing in central midfield and just positions of the pitch that I didn't even necessarily like. Automatically, when you're in them places where it's not your speciality. You get locked. It's a different kind of focus because you know that you have to be locked in.
And when you're in that moment, can you see the defenders of the other team like, fuck, we can't fuck with this guy?
It's like an atmosphere, like it's just in the stadium.
Once you have that, like, are you constantly chasing it? Is it something
Oh, it's a drug.
you're striving for?
Definitely a drug. You wish the night never ends. When the game ends, I'm literally like sad. Like I want to go again. I could literally go again. I could play a whole game right after the game ends.
Them kind of moments change you. Like it's like the zone or the loss in the game. It's like that moment. It's like one of the big reasons why I'm so picky, because I'll have an amazing moment. Now it has to be that. I have to touch that. Like, and then I look at scripts and I'm like, I won't get there. I won't get there. Oh shit, I can't do those little jobs anymore. I can't do those itty jobs because it's that now.
Yeah.
But it's not like, for me, it's now it goes, the reasons I'm doing it. If I'm doing something for money, I'm never gonna get there. If it's just money, never. Ever touch it. Ever touch it.
I love that.
But then if it's like, I think because the story means something to me, or I can grow, or makes me uncomfortable, or I'm scared. If you more time is I'm shook. Do you know what I'm saying? Then you're more likely to get into that zone.
Do you look for roles that you're scared, like, fuck, I don't know.
Always. That's
All right, so there's a couple of things there. I love, again, I forgot what the soccer player's name is. I'm just getting roasted by our EU people because they love soccer.
Yep.
Getting lost in the game. Like, yeah, I mean, that's why we love league so much, is because when you're playing, like, you know, we call it high intensity more. Is that where we saw a version of the zone, or do you think that's different?
I don't know. I think it's a little bit different.
All right, so being like that, lost in the game, yeah, maybe that's different.
You're just flow state.
You
dude.
literally
You're just
like,
not thinking.
It's crazy. Nothing else in the world matters. You will not ever think that. It's like, it's the best feeling ever. It's like when I think about my best games of league, like for some reason, I know where everyone is. I know what everyone on the enemy team is going to do. I know what I'm going to do.
You know their psychological state as well.
I'm just doing shit with my character. I'm not even. I remember this play. Like I played a game. I went like 16-1 as Rek'Sai last week, and it was a couple of days ago, and like I had like these tunnel placements. I forgot that they were even there, but like I knew they were there, and like there was like a fight bot, and then like I like loop around. I'm like baiting people, and I like E over this wall, and then catch another tunnel, and come out there and like focus the Zeri who's like on the dragon. Like there's no way he ever saw me come in, right? It's impossible. But like I did it so quick, there was no thinking. It was great. Like I was just popping off that game, you know, and that was me in the zone, you know. And I love how LeBron says it's like. It sounds like they just, I don't know how to get back into that, you know? And like, and then that was like the end of my block, and I was like, fuck, I want to keep playing. I was like, night. It was like one of my night games, right? Not to go to sleep. But yeah, you just feel it, and it's incredible.
Yeah, I would say as well, like you not only thinking about everything on the map, like you know how they feel.
Yeah,
you know how your team. You actually can read the opponent so well. Like you know what they're gonna do.
It's like I see their clicks.
You see,
it's like I see them behind their computer, like clicking, like oh shit, I'm gonna dodge like Rek'Sai.
Yeah, like you actually see what they're thinking and why they're thinking like that. I can see that they're thinking too much. Like you can actually read why they're moving like that when you're in that flow state. Do you ever feel like sometimes, though, have you ever shocked yourself where like you do something, like you're in this, and
you're like, I'm not sure if you're going to do that again.
And then you like kind of wake up and you're like, I didn't know I could do this.
Yeah, 100%.
Have you ever had that?
Yeah, 100%. My best games, like again, the me knowing everything that's going on, and like just this level of focus is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like nothing. It's like nothing.
And the feeling is the feeling. Insane. It's like I get off my chair, like walk on my palm, and like with my chest up, dude, and like I'm just so fucking good at League of Legends.
But I like what he said. It's like an atmosphere around you. Like it's like you feel like you are the center of the universe in a way. It's like everyone is like around you, and like. It's like in the game, it feels like you're like stronger than everyone in a way, right. You know? It feels like everyone's just watching you play. It's like all around you.
They're just merely participants.
Yeah, there's participants in your game. This is just you're like the main character of this game. You know, you're like the protagonist of this game. It's cool. Something else I picked up on this, and I didn't think of this the first time I watched it. You know what he said? He said one of the coaches said, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, right? That's what, okay, there's two things. Number one, that's what you said when play those really hard games that don't
Your
dodge.
champion.
No,
Yeah.
don't dodge and play those really hard games.
Yeah.
When you don't dodge those games, you're playing Rek'Sai and it's like
Yes,
a really hard
dude.
Rek'Sai game.
You actually get into flow,
and
dude.
you win those games
Yeah.
and you put yourself, because you're forced to think like super creatively to win those games. Like you're pushed to another level. Like you can't afford to just be like autopilot and just play like shit because you know you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like that I resonated with what you said on Rek'Sai. Don't dodge those games. Play those really shitty games. And if you lose, it's whatever. But if you win, like it just forces you to go to that next level of like
It does.
intensity.
Those games, because those games, I know I can't make a single mistake. It just, it puts me in the flow state.
Puts you in the
somehow.
flow state. Yeah. The other way I interpreted that, I kind of interpreted a different way is I became a very different player when I learned how to play assassins. When I went through my whole Kiana journey and I came out the other side, like learned Kiana, I did the whole Fizz thing and everything. I viewed the game in a very different way, and I could never, by putting myself in those uncomfortable situations, I became a different player. I became a different person essentially. And I think that even with you traditionally in the past played farm style, right? You played very like kind of like the idea of clearing, full clear,
Max efficiency.
And then you went the other route, which is hyper ganking, right? With the Xin Zhao
Hyper
and
play
the
for team, play off win cons.
pure facilitator, right?
Yeah.
You've gone through both. You, in a way, forced to become a very different player and a very holistic player. Like by putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, you could have easily just went down that route, like never went the early ganking style and just all in on like full clearing. And you might have even got better results in the short term. But look at you now. You are 10 times the player that you would have been if you went down that rabbit hole, purely because you made yourself uncomfortable. I feel like there's something there when you're going to the highest levels, you're trying to like get to the highest levels of something. You need to make yourself uncomfortable. You need to actually search for uncomfortable situations because tying back to your soccer analogy, right? If he knows what it's like, it feels to play different positions. Now, when he's going back to his position, he knows what it feels like
to versus. So I know what it feels like to verse a farming jungler.
If he's a defender, right?
Yeah.
If he goes to defending and he was like a striker, he can like put himself in the mindset of a defender. It's like, that's like you have a mental edge, you know? It's the same thing in League. If I learned how to beat Kiana and beat Assassins when I played Kiana, I never could beat Kiana before I played Kiana. Now I can reliably shit on those champs.
Yeah.
Because I know how they're thinking, what's their mindset like. It's another level. You know as well how it feels to be a farming jungler versus an early game pressure jungler, vice versa. You actually know on both sides. It's a mindset. You have an advantage over players that only have one style.
That's right.
Massively.
Yeah.
I
agree.
as well.
I actually haven't thought of it that much, but that makes sense about the different positions that he talked about.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. And I love that you're sad the game ends. True. You feel,
I do. I
'cause you're on a
literally,
high. It's like a drug.
Yeah, I question, and then I play my next block. The next day, I'm like, fuck, like God,
it's just
it's
different.
like God, it's a different person. I feel like a different person, you know?
Yeah. I think this is a good segue. 'Cause I want to say this on the podcast, Nathan. You've reached such a high level of mastery with Rek'Sai that it's like really impressive.
Really? Woo.
And like, I think that like, in my time playing solo queue, there's certain people that when they play a champ, like you feel the impact, like that, like they're just like on another level, like in terms of their impact. And with I think you've reached that level with Rek'Sai where it's like that when you're in Rek'Sai, it's like this guy's gonna make the game really hard to win, no matter what the game state is. Like like the stars don't have to align for you. It almost feels like when you verse some junglers, is like, or people that they can play the champ, but it's like the stars have to, the game has to go a particular way. With you and Rek'Sai, it's like, it doesn't matter what the game is, whether you get set behind early or it's a top win con, bot win con, mid win con, you're the win con, whatever it is, you're just a high impact player on Rek'Sai. And I think that I want to give you props, and I think it's like, because it's a part of the BBC mantra, champ mastery. You've embraced that, and you're like you've exemplified what it can do for your solo queue. Like the quality of play you are this season with your Rek'Sai compared to like the past 2 seasons, it's night and day, dude. Like our last 2 seasons, you're pretty average, right? Like beating you in solo queue, it's like it was
easy.
Pretty easy. But now you're like your Rek'Sai is insane. You're hard to beat. You're a difficult to beat player. And That's the product of champ mastery, getting into the details, process. Like you've come out the other side with this amazing product. And I think that like should be in a way an inspiration for people watching this. If they can get even remotely close to that level of champ mastery, like they can get any rank they want.
Yeah, champ, like now that I've had that experience and I know what it feels. Again, you just can't. I can't emphasize enough. You know, with the mailbag question, you know, like last
champ
episode
mastery.
about the champ, he just didn't believe in champ mastery. You just, unless you do it, you just don't know the potential.
You just don't know. You just don't know. Until you do it, you just don't know.
You know, because you can, you know, people always say it's like, oh, well, like, what do I have in my champ? I have an AD pick and like an AP pick and all that sort of stuff. It's like, no, I don't care.
I think the longer we've coached, the more we've slowly realized the importance of champ mastery. It's actually gotten more.
It's like, it increases
I
every
disrespected it a lot, but it's every year. Like it's increased a lot. It went from being, I knew it was kind of like definitely irrelevant, and then to like, it's like the most important thing now. I changed my mind massively on this over the years. I was wrong, straight up wrong when I first started coaching mid lane. I was like really obsessed with pools. Now it's fuck all that. It's all about champ mastery. You know, pools definitely matter at the high elo, but like champ mastery is like right there next to it. It's like literally.
It's right now. It is.
Well, it's actually above it. It is above it straight up. But then pools just under it. You know, when you come into like challenger and stuff, because you can't be you don't want to be a one trick. Ideally, you still need to have like multiple champs in your pool.
And I would say as well, I mean, maybe it's you know, we just talked about the flow zone and stuff like that. Unless you have the champ mastery on a champion, maybe you can.
No, you can't, Nathan. You cannot enter flow state without mastery.
Without champ mastery.
And I know that for a fact because, again, my Ari, no matter how, think about it, Nathan. I am someone that achieves flow state on many champs. I've reached it on like Galio, Fizz,
Cassiopeia, Xerath.
Now I can only do it. I can actually do it now on 3 champs. Before it was actually Cassio and Victor, but now Cassio and Victor Ari. I can do it on Ari. But before that, it took me quite a few games on Ari just to get, I mean, I'm still not the same level as my Victor and Cassio, but it's getting there. There's like a base, you need to have a really good understanding of your champ to get flow state.
It's true, yeah.
Really good understanding.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of my champs. Nunu, I definitely was able to get into the zone. Udi, obviously, back in my day.
Yeah, Udi, 100%.
I did have some good feelings with Elise in the preseason, but I just dropped that champ because I just didn't feel too hot on that one. I couldn't hit a cocoon to save my life.
What about Eve?
Nah.
Olaf?
Nah. No way, Olaf. Olaf, I need a certain game structure,
game state.
100%.
That's kind of Olaf's champ design as well.
Yeah.
I want to quickly talk about maybe one more thing here. Quickly. I've got two little things. One guy in the MLA said, he says he's brainwashing himself into not believing in the 30-30-40. So his narrative, he's like pushing on himself right now is every game is winnable.
Okay.
So he's going to tell himself every game is winnable no matter what. That's his mentality. He's like, screw the 30-30-40.
Yep.
It's negatively impacting him.
Yep.
If I come into every game thinking that every game is winnable, he believes it's going to benefit him in the long run. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, he's like kind of this test subject. I've never had anyone that has come to me with that. Usually it's the other way around. And Curtis, there's more auto losses.
Yeah.
You know, there's less games in your control.
I mean, it's a great mindset
it's interesting,
because
isn't
it's that's just maximum responsibility, accountability, which is it depends on the type of person you are. That can be negative because then you have the anxiety kicks in, and then you're you're thinking, am I not good enough, and like everything because you're just taking too much on.
Taking
too much
level. Yeah, you're not at that level.
You're not competent enough to be able to do that.
It's a double-edged sword, right? It's like you want to take a lot of responsibility, but you take too much responsibility and it can drive you insane.
It drives you insane, yeah.
Right. So, he might click with it, but it's a little bit scary.
I think as the type of person, it is scary, but it's good.
Last thing I will talk about here is there's a solo queue player in EU at the moment that I've been keeping an eye on. His name is EMENES. Now, EMENES is actually a Korean import, and the reason we know about him is because he actually got imported to OS. Was that in 2018? Yeah, 18. I think it was 2018, wasn't it? Or 2019? It was 2019, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure we were out of dials.
Was it 2019, right? So he got imported. I think he only played a split?
No, it was 2020, guys. It was 2020.
2020?
The first, because you remember we were in.
We were already
you
out.
were versing him and we were in the
Yes,
apartment.
right. 2020. Yes, spot on.
Yeah.
So 2020.
Yes, that was 2020.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Anyway, so he was like he's really good Korean import, whatever, and he didn't even last a split. He like rage quit the team. Apparently, he was really toxic. Anyway, I think he went to Turkey or something. I don't know. Maybe went to Turkey, whatever. Now he's in EU. I think he plays for XL Academy team. He's this very, very, very good mechanically player who's now I think he's ranked 13 on the EU solo queue ladder. And I was watching some of his gameplay this morning, and this guy is unbelievably good. Like when I look at him, like he looks a cut above even when at like the highest ranks in EU solo queue. Like he dominates, right? I watched a VOD of him this morning versus Vithio, and he's just dominating Vithio, right? Like just really, really good. And anyway, he recently got benched from his team in XL because he's like toxic and probably unworkable, whatever. But Sixten spoke to me about an interview that he did because EMENES was famous apparently in his, whether it was EU Masters or whatever it was, one tournament that he played. He got he set the record for the most solo kills ever in a tournament. And I think he was solo killing his opponent.
Just gapping mid laners.
Yeah, 1 or 2 times every game, no matter what, right? And so the interviewer asked him, so EMENES, how are you getting so many solo kills in this tournament? What are you doing? And he said in the interview, I'm just playing like it's solo queue. I just play like it's solo queue. That's what I do. That's like the secret.
And I love that. And again, that just goes just to sort of just get rid of everyone's narrative that there's a different game. Competitive is a different game. That mindset is it's obviously, or it's probably a bit of a toolkit for him as well, because obviously, that's not entirely the case. It's definitely somewhat a different game, but it's just having that mindset of just being like, I can take over games like in solo queue. Versus like, I need to like play with a team and like, I got to play this wave state perfect. Like I could ditch waves, be inefficient sometimes, just like feel it, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, solo queue, and that's just going again, you've got to respect solo queue. And it sounds like he does. He's really takes his solo queue seriously.
Yeah. And
I mean, you would have to with a 70% rate, rank 13 on EUS.
Yeah, and I think he has like an 86% win rate on Silas over like 40 games. Like he's insane.
I get behind that. I'm all for.
So I just thought that quote was really cool, and I think it really kind of aligns with our BBC mantra about the importance of solo queue.
Absolutely.
As well. Cool.
All right, time for some mailbag. Away we go. Jingle song. Our first submission for mailbag comes from Raphael. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Raphael. Yep.
He's from the MLA.
Yep. He is a grinder.
He's a grinder. Raphael. You're a big fan of his work?
I'm a massive fan. He's the definition of stick to the process, get into the details, and he's like just really curious. He's really curious and sticking to it. But he's got some history that, I don't know if we haven't seen this. We have no idea what he's going to talk about. But we're interested if he does bring that up.
All right, let's jump in and we'll pause whenever we need to.
Hi, Coach Curtis and Nathan Mott. My name is Raphael. I'm from the MLA. So just a little bit of background introduction about myself. I started playing League of Legends in Season 9. I am a Victor Vel'Koz player. I got to go at the end of Season 9, and in Season 10 and 11, I was in Platinum 4, and I really wanted to get to Diamond. So I'm just dropping this short little video because I just recently hit Diamond, and it's something that I really wanted for about 2 years, ever since I get to Platinum 4. So I would say that how my league journey started was that I played a lot of normal games, and I think Coach Curtis had a similar background as well, as he played a lot of board games and normal games before he moved on to ranked. And ranked is not really something that my friendship group really plays, so it's like I'm kind of on my own for the most part. So anyway, a few things I want to talk about here in this short little VOD is what I think about League of Legends as I feel like League of Legends is just like the best game to teach us about life, and it's much better than in school. Much better than what we learn in school. Like for example, Coach Curtis liked to mention that League of Legends is a confidence game, and I feel that this is the moment I heard this, I felt that, oh no, does that mean I can't get to high elo? Does that mean I can't get to that Diamond 4 rank that I want? Because I'm aware that outside of the game, my confidence isn't that strong, and it's the main reason why is because I constantly compare myself with other people. I'll be like, why does that guy over there get this certain result when I put in this effort? Or that guy over there, he's just lucky. I'm just constantly comparing, and everyone around me just tell me, you shouldn't compare because you have your gifts and other people have their gifts as well. But the thing about it is that I don't really understand the main reason why. They're just telling me not to do it, but I just don't understand why. And it wasn't until I got into that coaching session with Coach Curtis about 2 to 3 weeks ago, the time when I was, as of the time that I'm making this recording, and I asked Curtis at the end of the review, like, Coach, how do you get more confidence? How do you improve your confidence our confidence as a player? Is there anything that we can do? Is there some things that we can practice? And then Coach told me the same thing, which is do not compare. But more importantly, he told me why, and that the main reason why was because we are all on a different journey. And when Coach said that it could be my upbringing, it could be what I have to deal with early on in life, and that life isn't fair. I really felt that because when I was growing up as a kid, I'm like when at like 14, 15 years old, I'm currently 21, like 5 years, 6 years ago, like my parents really weren't around for me at all. Like they were traveling a lot, trying to work overseas. So it's like I have a lot of responsibilities onto me at a young age compared to our other kids around me, compared to my other classmates. So whenever I look around, can you imagine, like whenever I go to school and then I see, like I see and hear people talk about, my parents get to go out with me for this certain event on this day or this weekend or this coming event, and then I'll be thinking like, oh, you just got lucky, like you have both of your parents there, you have like all of this good stuff while while I'm on this particular journey. So when Coach Curtis said that life isn't fair and that it's your own journey, so it's your own journey. You develop your own certain set of, you develop your own skill set, you develop your own personality, your own view. It's the same as league, right? Because when we play certain champions, we learn certain ways about playing the game. Like for example, if I'm playing a lot of Victor, a lot of Vel'Koz, I have to think a lot about positioning. It's not so much about the micro 1v5 because we are not 1v5 champions. We are more team play oriented champions in a way, and I feel that, and that's also another reason why, going back to the point that I said before, that league is one of the best games teachers of our life, because the champions that we play, it kind of shows us a reflection of ourselves, and that's something that I'll talk about a little bit later.
What do you think about that, Nathan?
The champion's reflection of ourselves.
Well, both comparing ourselves to others in real life, and how we get told not to do it, but we don't really say why and how that works. Like, why is it that
we shouldn't compare?
Yeah, no, it isn't like, why is it they have an advantage? No one even says that. It's kind of like in school, you think about it, right? It's like, oh yeah, that person over there, they have this, they have that, or they're like, there's always a reason. Like they don't break down the reasons. That they just say, yep, they have that. Learn to suck it up.
That's right.
Don't compare. But in reality, like it would actually make more sense if they actually got into the details. Like, why specifically does that person have those advantages, and why are they in that situation? Because it doesn't really help that you're general, right? It's like you get given this bullshit response, like don't compare. But it's like, well, I am going to compare because how can I not? It's not until you really like get into it. It's like, okay, the way they were raised, their environment, they had an older brother that pushed them. They went to a particular school, or they did this hobby. Like, we don't know all this information, right? But like if we got told,
and you're saying that's not the conversation. No one digs that, because you're not going to ask all those questions. It's like, what is this, an interview? You're psychoanalyzing this person, No,
but it's good. Yeah, we're not going to ask this question, but I think it's like we don't even begin to inquire. We would just say, oh, they're either.
But just the way they are.
It's
like
just them.
It's like the talent versus no talent.
Yeah,
It's
talent versus no
challenge
talent.
a player. That's just it. Bam. Good to go.
When in reality, there's a lot of things that go into that. Like he's explaining in league, like we view the game a different way, but it makes sense because we're a different person, and there's all the stuff in that. But you play different champs, and that shaped your view of the game. Like you played the game at the start through an Udyr lens and through all these other champs. I played it from a mage lens. So we have a different way of viewing the game and play different roles. So that shapes who we are as a player in League of Legends. And when people write in and say, Nathan, why is this person getting to that rank? And I've been in the Salty for the same period of time. I've played the game same amount of time as this guy, but I've been in gold for 3 years and that person's already master tier doing the same thing. Why is that? Right? It helps to know that, like he said, we're not all the same. Life is unfair in a way.
Yes.
We're not all on a level playing field. But it's so profound. Like once you like accept that for what that is, it's like it's freeing in a way.
It is. Yeah. I mean, because comparison to others, that's not even. It's just gone.
You've always been really good at that.
I don't think I've really ever had that. Yeah, now think because again, everything is so logically makes sense why people get the results.
Everything makes it. It ties into that quote, Nathan. Everything makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, it's your view of reality.
That's right.
Everything makes sense.
Yeah. And the other one as well, what I really grasped early on, like thinking about, all right, what is that person's day-to-day schedule? Break down their minute, their hour, and then you can really figure out what the results will be.
Because they're another human, right? Like they're another human. They have to wake up and take a shit and have a shower and go to sleep.
And get
like
ready
they have
for
to
the
do
day.
all the same things.
Yeah, they have the same amount of time.
The same amount of time. We're all on a level, in a weird way, we are on a level playing field, but we're not.
We're not because the time is disappearing all the time, right? So if that person makes that one decision, that person goes that way.
Yeah.
Then
it's so cool when you think of it like that. It's like there's all these paths you can take.
Yeah. Like let's say, for example, he's comparing himself. Let's say you're a gold player in Soul to MLA, right? And you've been struggling in golf for a long time, right? And this other person in Soul 2 was like, gold, and then they show up to like platinum like really easily, And then you could like break down each of their days, like the amount of times they pissed away, like games, like didn't play high intensity, all the time. You could like break it all down, and it would actually all make perfect
why they improve
sense.
faster based off their gaming background and everything.
Yeah.
You could like write a whole thesis on it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when people write us into stuff like that. Like we can't really get like no one really is we would have to sit down with you and like live with you and like to really figure it out.
200 questions.
Yeah. So that's
again, everything makes sense. If you find yourself saying it doesn't make sense, no, you're wrong. It does make sense. You just don't have the necessary information to come to that conclusion.
Yeah, why that person got that result out of life.
Yeah.
I was going to mention before, but I just wanted to hear Raphael talk. I love that he pursued this journey by himself. There's just so much power in that. You have all these friendship groups and stuff like that, You know how he said like, oh, I was like on the journey by myself. It's like it sounded like I don't know, just the way he says it, or like when people say that, it's like it's
a character building. It's character building.
But when it's said, it feels like it's like a negative thing in a way.
But you think it's a positive.
It's amazing. It's incredibly fun to just go on a personal journey by yourself in League of Legends. I think it's incredible. I think it's absolutely incredible. It gets me so excited.
You've always been a big advocate of doing things alone.
Yeah.
And overcoming adversity alone.
Yep.
Because you're put to the test and it's all on you. There's no one else there.
And again, the conversation, David Goggins is the perfect example of that. That's why I love that.
Embraces that, doesn't he?
He was on his own for years, just chipping away. Yeah. So that's what I think. And the other thing as well is about the champion, thing. Absolutely. We've talked about that. A great example was the episode we did about can females be world champions with Kitty and Gabby.
Yeah.
About, why girls gravitate towards certain champions, the facilitator type mindset, playing girl champions because they look pretty or whatever like that. I think, and that's what the awesome thing about League is that it really, like talking about, the UFC fighter, Robert Whittaker, that played Darius and stuff like that in the top lane. It's awesome.
And my background in gaming, wanting to be like really like aim
skill
shots tied into me wanting to play like Xerath.
And I was a healer, so I was a facilitator.
Yeah, it always makes sense.
Your identity, it's awesome.
So your personality type as well, like you want to take control, you want to do things by yourself, you probably will be a top laner or something like that. If you want to think about the game strategically, it's funny, like when we think back to people that we know at a pro level who main roles, like you can tell their personality type straight away. Whoever played their role, like you already kind of know.
It's like the ADCs.
ADCs are ridiculous.
Curtis has literally, if I say like pro ADC play, Curtis could literally just describe out like everything. Curtis just knows the ADCs.
Yeah, I got this meme that we have is that like every academy and somewhat semi-pro or pro 80 carry and Oast is like the same person.
The same person, that's right. Like, and you're interested, that when we watched that Players, the first episode, and you said the 80 carry, the organism, whatever.
Yeah, so let's just like talk about that. So there's a show, right? Well, what's it on?
It's on Showtime.
Paramount Plus. They do like there's like that gaming.
They did like an LCS parody.
LCS parody show, and then they had the 80 carry that's on the show named Organism. His like personality, like his mannerisms and his language and the way he conducted himself and his personality
interacted with the team
was exactly like an 80 carry. They actually like got it to a T. Honestly, it was scary. Like he sits at the chair. The way he sits at the chair and this. And the way he was like edgy, it's like the 80 carry is always edgy and like kind of like
They don't communicate. They're all to themselves.
Yeah, and yeah. They're a very particular type of person, but they're very different to mid laners. And mid laners are very different to top laners. They're all, it's so funny to me.
And, for that reason alone, because, again, I feel like the game's just for everyone.
Yeah.
That's why the
league is another reason why league's a great game.
It's just not going to die, dude. Like, they've just got this.
There's someone for everyone, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, you can load in and there's a champ for everyone,
That's
no
right.
matter how
It's
you want to play the
incredible.
game.
Even someone like Patrick. Patrick is the perfect Zach player, Olaf player. Like, it's so cool,
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool when you think about it.
And I think that's, again, why the league's one of the best games, that aspect of it. You are the.
Something we take it for
identity.
granted, for sure.
Let's keep going.
So, all in all, when Coach Curtis told me about that, about the success quote from John Wooden, how that success is peace of mind, in knowing that you did the best that you're capable of, that's just a simplified version. The one it's the same quote that was read in BBC episode 100. It's like I felt really emotional because I felt the impact of those words. I understand what those words meant, because for like the past 5 to 6 years, whenever I will put in a lot of effort to get something, to get a particular result, what might happen is I'll believe that the effort that I put in is just not enough compared to like that guy over there. Like that guy over there can just put in like 40% of the effort that I put in, while I'm putting like 155%, and I still don't get what I want. But at the end of the day, it's just you just go there to express your best self and have a crack, and that's what I needed to hear, because no one has told me that before. Like no one. Everyone just tell me. Although everyone just say do your best, but what does that even mean? Like when I hear do your best, I'm just like thinking, it's just not. I don't know. It's just when I hear the word do your best, it sounds so cliche. Like it doesn't. Like it's not a strong enough reason. I don't know how to explain it. But it's only when Curtis mentioned that quote from John Wooden that I truly understood the meaning of just try your best. So yeah, that's the first point about how the league is a confidence game, and that's just something that one of the topics that I want to talk about. And the next one was.
So I guess that's like so I think what Raphael was trying to connect is like, why do your best? And John was like, for peace of mind.
For peace of mind. And how do you get that peace of mind? You try your absolute best, and if you exit the game and you've done whatever you possibly can, then that's all you can ask for yourself.
Even if the results are lost.
And that's how confidence is developed.
Yes.
And how it all ties in together. Confidence, peace of mind.
And it just so happens when you have that, you tend to win more.
You tend to win more and be a successful individual.
For example, John Wooden, John Wooden, I love it about John Wooden. The players always quote, never ever talked about winning a game, ever, not once. They literally can't quote him. And he's the most successful basketball head coach of all time.
Yeah.
Fascinating. That's interesting. There's something there, isn't there?
And what's actually scary to me here is that like he has put in a lot of effort in tasks, maybe in school and things like that, but his parents still say that's not enough. Imagine, that's scary to me, like imagine like, your parents obviously want the best for you, right? It's hard for us to really empathize what being a parent would be like, right? But they obviously want to push their son or daughter to get the best possible results, whatever, and have a great future. But at the same time, you can see how scary it would be if you push them to the point where they're doing their best and then you're still comparing to other people. Like there's someone doing better than you, you're still not doing enough. Like, where do you draw the line? And then it's like, well, what's the point? Like I'm doing my best and then I'm still not getting rewarded for it. Like if it was, and I think what he was missing was a clear definition of like what is my best and how do I feel good? When should I feel good about myself? Because that's where his confidence is actually lacked. Mm-hmm. No one has said to him, you know what, Raphael, you tried your best and that's okay. Like you put in the effort, you followed the process, you studied whatever, you did this, and you know what? Okay, someone got a bit of result than you. It is what it is. That's okay. You did what was in your control. You tried your ass off, and we're proud of you for doing that. We're proud of you for just putting in that max effort. But imagine the confidence you would develop if your parents told you that.
Yeah. It's very prevalent. I always think about it. It's very prevalent in Asian culture with their kids with success in results, right? Like you always hear the stories of like,
it's always the result at the end. It's never the process.
Like,
this is a result.
Did you get an A+ or
A+?
You know what I mean? It's a huge stigma.
Yeah. It's scary. And where the hell are they going to develop their confidence? It only comes from the end result. And if they don't get the end result, then the world crumbles. It's like, well, fuck, you know? And then they rely on, if they don't have that process down pat, if it's going to the real world or they do something that they're not talented at, what are they going to do? Either give up or try something else or just fail, right? And it's scary. So poor dude, no wonder he's really struggled with confidence because he's never actually been said, you know what? You did okay, man, right? You put in the effort and we're proud of you for putting in the effort because that's what matters, the effort.
That's what Coach Curtis and the MLA is for. Curtis is that father figure for Raphael. I mean, you said he was a grinder at the beginning, right? So he puts in effort.
He has. He's impressed me.
The next thing I want to share about is about how I don't know if you guys have this myth that if you get coaching from a very high elo player, like a pro player or a challenger player, it means that you should instantly get to high elo or instantly get to their rank. But upon joining the MLA, I realized that this is not necessarily true because it was in a way like a coach and an athlete, like the relationship between a coach and an athlete. Because outside of game, I used to be a competitive runner, and as a competitive runner, my coach will give me certain workouts, and every single time he give me those workouts, I'll be like really excited to do them. I'll be like, all right, let's go and get them, you know, let's go do this long run, let's go do this interval, so that we can improve and we can get better, we can compete, you know, we can win medals. Like I have all these thoughts, so like, and when I had all these thoughts, and I actually performed the different workouts that he assigned to me, I actually saw a rapid growth in my running overall, my speed, my endurance, and all of that. So I really understood how improvement looks like before I got into the MLA. Yeah, so the thing about the MLA and I guess Sol 2 as well is that at the front of the page, there will be like 3 or 4 lines where you guys mentioned that, oh, you know, the MLA is for you if you are looking for ways to better yourself in and outside of the game, if you are willing to put in the effort and not take shortcuts. When I first looking at that, I'm like, oh wait, isn't this just like, you know, signing up for like a running club? Like when you have when I used to have my own coaches, isn't it something like that where like the coach give me a workout and then I just, you know, put a lot of effort into it and like get it done? And I think that's like, I'm not sure if it's a misconception, but I'm just, you know, raising the awareness. Maybe I'm just tackling a little bit of the problem, because I'm not sure if there's this unexpected expectation that you should instantly get a results, but that's not how improvement works, right? Because we all improve slowly over time, you know, going through the reviews, getting into the details, asking questions, being curious, and all of that, and all of that, am I right? And the discipline. So yeah, that's one of the myths that I would. That's one of the things that, yeah, I would say that I discovered while joining the MLD, and it feels quite different in a way. The whole game feels a little bit different in a way, because, okay, what I'm trying to say is because almost everyone, when they look at for example video games, when they look at League of Legends, to them it's just like, oh, it's just a casual game, you know, you can just put your leg on the table, you can like drink a beer, you know, get some food, and then you can just like relax, and then you just suddenly improve, you suddenly climb to Grandmaster, you suddenly climb to Master. But that's not exactly how it works, and it's so hard for most of the player base to understand this, is because I feel that they believe that maybe they just believe that League is like Fortnite, for example. Maybe they believe League is just like a casual game, but we know that League isn't a casual game. So I find that most of the players really may struggle with improvement, mainly because, yeah, I think this is another topic that I should explain about. Is like, I feel like maybe most of the general population of players, they struggle a lot of improvement, because a lot of them have been playing the game for a long time, and I have been playing the game since season 9, while some of them have been playing the game since season 2, season 3, season 4, or even season 1. So we are not sure how many invisible narratives they have, while I'm just like fresh. I don't have any bad habits. You know, it's like I raised properly, right? Because I raised properly in a way, right? Because I joined quite late. I don't develop any bad habits.
Yeah, so his past point, yeah, simply, Raphael, is that, yeah, compared to a running club or sports, that people know that effort. You need to put in a lot of effort to get good at sports or running or that
It's
sort
like
of
an
stuff.
invisible. It's like an invisible agreement, right? It's like tacit knowledge. It's like
Yeah, it's just common knowledge. It's like
common
you're born
knowledge.
with it. You just know it. It's like
you
your
just
parents
know.
tell you. But
Like you
even-
listen to what the coach says, and I put in the effort
Yeah.
and the hard work, and I have discipline. I'm gonna get there.
And then he's like, yeah, that makes sense. I'll go do that, because you probably know that you would have heard that with some conversation or watched movies when you're 3 years or 4 years old.
Yeah, it's the
What-
narrative around sport, right?
What gaming movie is there? You know, of like someone like putting in effort and like winning the championship. You know, that just doesn't. That's not culture. Again, it's purely just the lack of respect for game and just this new League of Legends is just this new thing. This new thing that's very new. People don't know how to deal with it. People know what improvement looks like. Back in the day, you know, you instantly got to Challenger and like, you know, it was much easier for us back then, but it's changed now. People got better.
The
and-
narrative improvement in League is just not there.
No, it just doesn't exist. And just
In gaming.
again, it's just because when you League of Legends is the same as Fortnite and it's the same as Call of Duty and it's the same. They're all tied,
They're all together.
but it's not the case at all.
They're very different. Yeah, and I will say here as well is that that's actually why I think a lot of people who join the programs, they have misconceptions about how it's going to work. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, this guy's a high elo coach.
Here's all the tactics.
Yeah, he has all like this knowledge. He's just going to tell me this stuff,
Yeah.
and then and now I know it, and then I'm going to get the results.
Now
So
I
it's
can-
like
yeah, that's
it's
right.
like it's just a few like things that I need to know.
Yeah.
And once I know these things,
Yeah.
I will get to the rank that I want to get to.
Yeah.
But it's nothing like
No.
that. It's you know, I'm gonna obviously help you and give you my perspective on the game states and all that stuff, but you gotta. I'm just giving you the tools, and you gotta go and put in the work now
And execute
and
and
develop that
practice.
muscle memory on your own view of the game.
I always say everyone acts and talks. You know, they can review again. They watch programs, LCS, and everyone can be a great back chair armchair analyst. But when you're in it, it's a different story.
Yep, 100%.
Keep going.
Yep.
Don't create the second account and do all that. You know, all that.
Oh, I will actually say about how he had a fresh account.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, he's from season 9.
Yeah, so he's a super young
Yeah,
player.
he's so young. And you know, I think that this ties into what you said with how there's like going to be a new generation of players, right? Like even tying back to Patrick. Patrick has climbed to Platinum 4 faster than people that we know that have played the game for a much longer time
For
and
10
even be
years.
better than the game because
right.
they have such a fresher perspective on the game.
They don't have all the invisible narratives.
Like, think about that. Like,
I literally tell when I have specifically my gold platinum clients join Soul 2 and ask them how long they've played for 10 years, I make it aware to them, you've got so much baggage straight up that we're going to have to work through. And I'm trying to just demonstrate to them how difficult this is going to be for you. It just is. I'm sorry, that's just the way.
That's just the way it's gonna be.
That's just the way it's going to be. I've never really seen someone really quickly climb from gold platinum the moment they join Soul 2 if you play for 10 years.
yep, that's why we ask those questions. How long have you been playing for the game? And they say 8 years.
And it's crazy. That
All right,
it's
we're in for something. We're in for something
It's
here.
crazy, isn't it crazy that the longer someone's played, the harder it is?
Yes, it's
to
harder.
improve.
Usually it's the other way around. The longer you do something, the better you are, and then you're all good. But because League is this, it can create all these narratives, and there's all this misinformation out there.
Yeah.
And you're playing without guidance. It's like you just go backwards.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I
It's
I
crazy.
view it really simply. Actually, a narrative, an analogy that could be funny, or a metaphor, whatever. Is that imagine you go to the gym and you tried to figure out the gym. Imagine like you didn't watch a single tutorial, you never
Yeah.
got a single trainer, and you just rocked up to a gym and you trained like incorrectly for like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and you're just like your body's just fucked. Like it's just like it's just you just screwed your body with
Yeah.
injuries, right? Like you
Yeah.
just so then when you get a PT like 5 years later and like.
Shows you how to do good form.
Oh, now we got to undo all the injuries that you've given yourself and actually go through like, what do they call it? Like rehabilitation first. Now we do the rehabilitation, and then finally, once we've recovered and you've done your rehabilitation,
We could exercise
then we
properly
can actually
again.
do the exercises properly and start from scratch. That's
Yeah.
kind of like what it is, right? What
I
we're
don't know,
doing with
I
those
don't-
clients, it's rehab,
Yeah, it's
really.
rehab.
It actually is rehab.
Yeah.
It's rehabilitation first. Once we go through the rehabilitation period of the getting them kind of like understanding how league works, and like the uncovering the narratives and everything. It's
Gym's
like
a bad analogy, Curtis.
Yeah, gym doesn't make sense.
Because if you pick up heavy stuff and put it down, you get results regardless, no matter how.
Or you'd get seriously injured. You wouldn't be able to do it anymore.
Okay,
Yeah,
no, you know what's
doesn't make
what's
sense.
better is like someone that's like been on drugs or something like that.
Right.
So like you go to rehab for that's what they're mainly for.
Well,
rehab.
let's say they abuse drugs. You'll say for
so
years.
you have to do the rehabilitation, and then once you get stuck in your life together,
and then you can be a functional human being.
That's right.
After
That's
that.
what it's like. That's better.
Yeah.
Or like
and then you can start
alcohol's-
bettering yourself.
Or like Alcohol's Anonymous or something like that.
Yeah, because you
If you're
can't
an
start
alcoholic,
bettering yourself until
you've got rid of the habits.
You've got rid of the habits. Yeah, spot on.
Does
That's
that
a
make sense?
that's a
That's
better
analogy.
it's a better
Gym's horrible,
analogy.
because no one goes into the gym and starts breaking themselves and just
Yeah,
keeps going
yeah.
for 3 years.
Agreed. But yeah, but I like thinking about that when you get those clients.
Yeah.
We are doing rehabilitation
That's
in
right.
a way.
Yes.
And that if imagine if that was like they came in knowing that, because when people come in like that drug addict comes into a rehabilitation clinic, they already know their situation. They're aware of how fucked their situation is. Like, I know I'm a mess.
That's why they're there.
And now, exactly, that's why I'm there, and that's why I'm going to put in the work to like change. But for people who come into the MLA and Soul 2, they don't even know they're a
not
mess
actually
in a
aware.
way. They're
Yeah.
actually not aware.
Some people do, but
some
people know.
some people, I would say the majority actually
yeah.
don't.
Yeah,
right?
you're
They're
right.
actually delusional about
Yeah.
how good or bad they are at the game, and then it starts like months of actually re-education, and before we can actually start to improve.
Yep.
Which is an interesting thought.
Yeah, I like it. Moving on.
All that crazy stuff to fix my MMR and all that. So that one doesn't matter to me. But I'm sure like it matters to a lot of people. Like because when I was climbing to Diamond 4 at High Platinum, what I realized is that there's a lot of Smurfs. There's a lot of players with like low level accounts. Low level accounts at Gold 1, low level accounts at Platinum 2, like level 30, level 40, level 50 accounts. And I feel like they're all in this trap where they just so caught up in the the MMR, the losers queue, the teammates and all that stuff, and they can't really see that they can't really they may not even believe that improvement actually exists in League of Legends, and that's quite hard because like when we're just one small dot in the ocean, like the BBC, our MLA, our Soul 2, we are all like just in this little sphere. And like if we go out and talk to like maybe our friends, we talk to like the general public, we talk to maybe some solo queue, maybe we say some encouraging stuff like, let's not give up, we can still win this game. Some of them may not actually understand what we feel, because some of them may not actually understand what we're trying to say, because they're so ingrained in that very habit, like, if you make a mistake, you should instantly FF, we should go next, we can't win this game, right? Yeah, so I'm not really, so this is just something that I realized as well. There's just a bunch of Smurfs. There's a lot of Smurfs and all that, and we're just small, tiny dot in the ocean. But I feel very fortunate to be here. I feel extremely fortunate to be here. Yeah. So, moving on, I just want to go back to the point that I referred earlier, which is about how champions are like a reflection of the self. So, for example, let's take my example. I play a lot of Victor and Vel'Koz primarily. I didn't really switch my champion pool. It's just both of them, Victor, Vel'Koz, mid and support. Mid and support Victor and Vel'Koz, that's it. And the thing is that I feel like it really showcases, like, it's really a reflection of like who I am in the game. Like when I pick Vel'Koz or when I pick Victor and I'm standing in that lane CSing, or like I'm standing in that lane trying to hit my skill shots, it's as if it's not Victor or Vel'Koz, but it's as if I'm the one in that game. I don't know, it sounds like some anime cliche thing, but I feel like, but honestly I feel like that, I really feel like that's the case with me. Maybe it's because I really love playing the game and I really love playing the champion. And I think another evidence to show that this may be the case is if you guys have watched the World's 2020 music video about last year, the one with Showmaker, and I think there's a lot of other pros. There's a lot of other pro players like Reckless and all that. And in the music video, they actually become their own champions at the end near the ending session at that city somewhere. Yeah, basically. So it shows that Showmaker becomes Syndra in a way, takes on the form of Syndra or something like that. So, and way before that video, I felt like I really felt what I felt when I was playing the game, which is, instead of Vel'Koz or Victor, it is actually me farming, me CSing, me killing my opponent, me dying as well. So I really feel that champions are a reflection of themselves, not only as the kid, but the lore as well. Because what happens is that I did get injured from running, And the thing is, if anyone here watches Arcane, you guys will know that, oh, Victor has like a walking stick, and then Victor is my most played champion, and like I can injure ankle in real life. So I find it quite funny, I find it quite funny. Yeah, so
what do you think about like you being like, because you get so connected with your champ and champ mastery that like you become like it's like you are Rek'Sai in a way, It's like,
I mean, I don't see myself as some gigantic monster.
No, like not physically, but like when you playing it, like you
feel like
it's like you expressing like you and the one that you're like one.
You do. You are. I do get is what he's
saying. You know
saying.
what I mean? Like you get. It's hard to articulate. I think
is.
it is a hard thing to articulate. He's having a crack, but like you're expressing. It's like you and the champ are one in the sense that you're able to express you through the champion and your view of the game through the champion. Like when you understand the champ a lot, like you're not just playing Victor, you're winning the game through Victor, or you're not just playing Rek'Sai, you're winning the game through Rek'Sai your way. You and Rek'Sai in a way are kind of like combined. It's weird, yeah.
Formula One. Remember the beginning of the Mick Schumacher documentary?
Michael Schumacher.
One with the car.
One with the car. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, I like it. Because you can't if you're not one with your champion, you're actually it's just a tool rather than like there's like another level you get to when you become one with the champion, actually, when you think about it. It's a hard thing to articulate, but I know what he means. I definitely know what he means.
That's champ mastery. That's the high level champ mastery. Once you get to that stage, that's where you need to get to.
Yeah. So that's something I need to think about more. Something that we can expand on, I reckon.
As of now, I don't really have much topics to talk about, but I just want to get this short little video to explain about like what I think about the game more in detail upon reaching diamond 4. And I would say that the grind League is really a grind, and it wasn't only until season 12 where I took the grind seriously, because in season 10 I was just trying to get to Gold 4 all the way to Platinum 4, and once I got to Platinum 4 I'm like, oh, I want to get to Diamond. I heard that's high elo, right? I want to get to Diamond. Like the rank is cool, the border looks cool, let's try and get there, and then I was stuck at Platinum 4 in like season 10 and season 11, and like I'm not sure like what is going wrong, and I think this is another issue. Like I think most of us, the main problem is that we don't have direction, we don't understand exactly what is going wrong. Because before I joined the MLA, I'm just going to share a bit about my season 12 journey. In January all the way to April, I was just playing solo queue, watching Curtis's content, reviewing my games, having gym, having 3 times a week running, basically having all my schedule. It's just that I had no direction. Like I had no idea what parts of my gameplay I should be focusing on, and that was before I joined the MLA. And it wasn't only until April when I realized that there's a problem here. There's a problem somewhere in my gameplay, but I just don't know what is it. And then I'm like, okay, if I'm still stuck here, if I can't get above this certain rank, or if I can't figure it out within this certain deadline, then I'll see if I can try and join the MLA to get some direction. So I feel like direction, or knowing what to improve on, or knowing what to look for in the review is so important. Because whenever I look at the review from Platinum 3 all the way until Diamond 4, I will constantly be looking at my learning objectives. And by looking at my learning objectives, it's so easy for me to find out like, okay, I'm doing this thing right, I am not doing this thing right. I'm not sure about this. Maybe I'll ask a question about that. I'll post a clip, or maybe I'll just ask something in the chat, or maybe I will just go online to YouTube, or I'll just go online to YouTube, find a little bit of VODs here and there, stuff like that. And it's only because I have direction that I know what am I supposed to look for in the review, for me to be able to go and seek those answers. Yeah. So that's just what I realized as well, is that most players just don't really have much direction. They just don't know what to improve on. So anyway, I think a lot more to talk about, but that's all. That's more I can. That's all I can think about at the moment. So just once again, I just want to thank you guys for creating the Broken by Concept podcast, for really, putting in the effort to really make this, to really talk about interesting topics, talk about really meaningful topics that can help the league community improve their relationship with the game. And and although we're just one we're just one small dot, we never know who we're going to impact. Like honestly, I didn't really expect myself to be listening to podcasts listening to like self improvement podcasts until like really take it seriously until this year. So yeah, just keep up the good work, and yeah, you never know who you may actually be impacting. You never know whose life you may be changing for the better. And yeah, I just hope to hear more from you guys soon. And of course, I'll be getting into the details. I'll be asking questions. And yeah, I'll be definitely looking to rethink about my rank goals, see what I want to get out of the game. And then yeah, I will move on from continue on from there, continue improving. And yeah, just as Nathan said, see you on the reef.
See you on the reef, Raphael.
So I just want to add some things. So this was because I think this was a few weeks ago. He said this, right? And since then, he did the classic D4, and then he actually wrote this thing about how he believed he was plateaued, and then he got into like this drop down to plat and went through the whole like ranked anxiety because like he's like dropping from D4, didn't want to go backwards and like lose the D4. He went through that route. I did that whole thing, and then he had a chat with Daniel from the book club, and Daniel kind of set him straight, helping him with, I think getting over plateaus and just like a reality check. I think I can't remember exactly, but Daniel really helped him. And he told me without Daniel's conversation with Daniel, he wouldn't have like kept pushing. Like he kind of got in that rut and now he's like, I feel like he's now making progress, pushing past D4 up.
I love it.
So it's going to be, there's no doubt in my mind that he will get to master. It's not if, it's when. But I think one thing with him, he needs to work on his champ pool because Victor Velkoz, you need something else there, I reckon. He's got that master in the Victor Velkoz. Like, I feel like if he has one more champ in there with a little bit of mobility, he would be killing it. He'd be really killing it. That third champ, he needs he needs a trio, and he'll be doing a really good job. But he's got the process, he's got the mentality. It's just a matter of time.
One thing as well I'll mention about what he said was it looks like he really tried to like figure it out on his own, and then he asked. He went to join the MLA.
So much.
That's really important because
so important.
What a lot of people do when they join our programs is like, they haven't really tried really hard, but they're like, all right, I'll join. Like, obviously, Curtis and Nathan can help me really a lot. And they're sort of just hoping again we give them the answers. But this guy, Raphael, like literally like, okay, I have zero, like I need some extra help here.
And that's why he was such a good client.
Yeah, that's really important. Yeah.
And that's why he got the results.
Yeah.
Because he'd already tried his best to figure out everything he could by himself. He tried his way, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So now it's all ears. I'm all ears. Like there's no ego here. It's like I tried everything. Now I'm desperate. I really need help. And then he come in and then boom, boom, boom. And then he listens and he gets D4, So it's
very important.
So important.
I can definitely tell he's very curious for sure.
Yeah. He's got the right mindset, man. He's going to kill it. And he already is killing it.
All right. So we'll do one more question. I think we have time for another one.
Okay.
There's a good one here from Alex.
Okay.
So this is Summoner Squid. He's someone in the lore of the Broken by Concept podcast.
He's been writing it a lot, hasn't he?
Yeah, we've covered him over the years. He's one of the OGs.
Yep.
100 points of solo queue improvement. Curtis and Nathan, if you had 100 units of time to allocate towards improving at League of Legends, how would you spend them? What would be the categories? For example, 34 playing solo queue, 33 on VOD review, 33 on watching montages / high-low VODs. I'm trying to find more things I can do to improve that aren't playing solo queue.
Okay. Have you thought about this?
I've not. I saw the question. I haven't really thought about it much.
Okay, we had 100 units. What would you do, Nathan?
All right, so what do I do? I would say if I was 100 units for my time, it would be 85 playing the game.
Solo queue.
And 15 VOD review, or even more. 90 playing the game, 10 VOD review. My own gameplay, and I never watch anyone high elo or other things.
Again, I want to answer this question through my lens, but I think it differs for everyone at different ranks. Okay, so I'm going to answer for me, and then I'll answer for like maybe a lower elo client. So for me, I would say, like maybe 80, 15, 5. 80 solo queue, 15 VOD review, 5 high elo games.
Yep.
For the average player, though, I actually think it actually goes down less playing. So it actually goes, I reckon, more 70.
Yeah. 15 your own gameplay, 15
Yeah, something
champion
like
mastery
that.
of watching VODs of
Yeah, like
someone
something like
else.
70, 15, 15. That would be really good because
Yep.
you do need to, and again, it depends on the client. There are people that have played a lot of the game and they actually have that underlying understanding of the game, but they don't think enough and they actually need to get into the review. There's some
Yeah.
people that like need to review more than they play, even though it sounds ridiculous. There is people that I've got like who play thousands of games. They play mindlessly. They actually need to play less. They just need to do 1-3 block and actually review those games a lot and really understand why they're making those decisions. Like, so there are those, and that would be like maybe like a 50, 30, 20 type thing, you know? But I would say on average, like you said, maybe 70 play, 15 or maybe 20-10, maybe 20-10, 70-20-10.
Okay.
I like that as well.
Yep.
So 20 being reviewing your own VODs and then 10 reviewing like other VODs.
Yeah. High elo players of like champion.
Or even
champ
like
mastery.
VOD reviews of in the Soul Tool, the
In
MLA,
MLA.
watching other bit like
Yep.
that's something that I cannot stress enough. Watching other reviews of your champion
In a similar rank.
is
All the
massive.
problems are all the exact same.
Because they're very similar problems.
Yeah.
And even if they're not, you're still getting to see how they're playing, how they're getting results, or even people slightly above your rank. It's interesting, you know?
It gets you also into the
Gets you
perspective
thinking.
as well of, you know, this person's struggling the exact same way. He has the same problems, you know, and it's like, oh, it's interesting. We're actually around the same level because we're doing the same things, you know. And then you can maybe look at someone who's like, let's say there's a gold Victor player, then they look at the diamond Victor.
Yeah,
and
you
like,
can just compare.
Whoa, you could straight up compare.
You can straight up compare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got my video come recording next week. I've put in a lot of time on this one, comparing all the different ranks of the victors, a gold, plat, diamond, master, GM plus, and it's interesting.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's I put in a lot of work. This is probably the video that I've put in. This is probably the most work I've put into a video outside of a guide in a long time. Usually it's like a guide, like I put in a shit ton of effort.
Yep.
This is like the next to that. I've done a lot of thought on this one and clips and stuff. So
All right. We're
This is gonna be
excited to
interesting.
explore the learnings.
Victor, yeah, great
All
stuff.
right. That's it for the mailbag today,
Thanks,
everyone.
Raphael, for sending that one in.
Thank you, Raphael. Awesome to
Awesome.
hear. And we'll see you guys next week.